The other day on social media, I had shared a picture of me dusting some of my taxidermy. And I asked you all how often you dust your taxidermy. And then in there, I did note how often I clean my taxidermy. And the way I clean my taxidermy right now is probably a little extreme. And so before you all start putting all these comments and everybody seems to like know immediately what everybody needs and stuff like that, I want you to pay attention and listen to my explanation of why I do what I do. And if you do have tips that I haven't covered, yes, please put them in the comments because we all want to help one another, which is why I had commented that I was cleaning taxidermy with this little guy. Now that I'm getting going, for those of you who asked about the spray that I used on my taxidermy, I have to tell you a backstory because taxidermy, I mean, it's different for everyone, I'm sure, but to me, the taxidermy is kind of like a picture on my wall. There's my family on our horses. That's from a Christmas card a few years ago. This is Cowboy. I call him Mr. Man. He's my horse. But anyway, so taxidermy, to me, it is the same as a photograph. It is a memory to me. I don't have everything mounted, although if I was a bazillionaire, I probably would have a lot more things mounted because also we have this innate fascination with wild animals. I mean, human beings, not just me, but human beings do. And it is amazing to look at that animal again, and then also to have those memories come flooding back. The memories of the close encounters, the memories of the work that you did to get there. And also, I mean, recipes and time around the table come to mind for me also. Let me know if that's the case for you. I mean, it's different for everybody, as I said, but so let's talk about caring for taxidermy and why I do what I do right now. So I said that I'm a little extreme right now. And what I mean by that is in my fascination for the outdoors and wild things and so forth, at my ranch, we have these windstorms in the springtime and these really cool bird nests that fell out of the trees. And some of them, they look like cones. They're just intricate works of art. And some of them, I'm not sure people can tell you like what birds make what nests and so forth. But long story short, I had some bird nests in my house. Okay. Do not bring the bird nests in your house. This is my long story short. Bird nests are homes to moths. And one of the biggest dangers to your taxidermy is pests, and moths are pests. So I figured this out with a black bear, my husband's black bear. It's a rug and is on the wall. And it started to have these like cobweb looking things. So if you see these little cobweb looking things, I mean, I would dust them with a duster once a week. And I told you, I live in a dusty house. I live out in the country on a dirt road. And so we have a lot of dust. I have a lot of pets that come in and out. They make dust as well. But I was dusting and I kept getting these cobwebs. And then one day, I saw a little thing kind of milling around. It was a moth larva. So I have scoured the internet. I've talked to many taxidermists. I've talked to many people about how to take care of these. One of the biggest things that people suggested was cedar spray. And that's what this is. It's cedar spray. So I will put a link. Every single thing that I talk about today, I'll put a link in the comments or the show notes or whatever. I'm going to put links to all of this. It is to my Amazon affiliate. You don't get charged anything else, but I might make a percentage off of it. But this one, it's SLA Reefer Galler Cedar Scented Spray. Kills moths right there. Kills moths. So this is where we started. I did do aggressive vacuuming on all of my mounts. Something that's interesting is I had commented this years ago. Some of you may have seen it, some may remember, some may not, but I had this ugly green wool sweater that was my favorite hunting sweater, and it kept getting these holes, and it had holes over the years. I mean, it went through a lot of wear and tear. In New Zealand, I got stuck in a sticker bush, for example, and my husband had to like pull me out. And so, I mean, I had these holes, but all of a sudden it started getting more holes. And I'm just thinking it's wearing out. Well, the moths were eating it. They ate a cashmere sweater. Something that's interesting, as I said, is they targeted the black bear, the moose. They targeted a red wool swing coat that I had, darker colors, that deep evergreen wool sweater. The darker colors they really targeted, and I don't know why. We started with that cedar spray and aggressive vacuuming. The way to kill moths is dry cleaning, which you can't take your mounts to dry cleaning as far as I know, but also freezer. So what I could take down and put in the freezer, we did. But something that if this ever happens to you, God forbid, because it is a mess, but boot liners, that's a place that they might like if it's a natural fiber, like the sneeze or schneeze, you tell me how to pronounce it, but those boot liners they had eaten and stuff like that. So you've got to scour and find all of the places. It took a lot of time to find the places, but because of this is why I'm a little aggressive still. This spray, this cedar spray, it sprays a mist. See that? It's kind of like an aerosol, like the hairspray we used to use when I used to have big old hair. It's a light spray, and then you use a soft, natural bristle brush. This one here, it's super soft, natural bristle, and I touch it very lightly just to kind of clean it and comb it down. So that is why I use that spray. It is to keep them pest free. This is something that had I not had the moth infestation and so forth, I would probably not use this as much as I do right now. And I think I said I use it once a month. It's probably more like once a quarter now. I probably use it every 3 months. I was using it on a monthly basis, but there's that I use on a weekly basis. I am using a Swiffer duster, and I use the Swiffer duster. These attract dust, so they magnetize the dust and pull it off. And that's why I use that. I use the ones that are unscented, just natural. And as I said, I'll have links to this. Something else that I use, and just like probably about once a year, maybe a little more often, but not much more often, is Cowboy Magic. So Cowboy Magic is a spray that we actually use for horses when we're showing, when we have parades, stuff like that. So it's a non-toxic spray. And what this does is it causes a shine, and it also repels dust. So the Cowboy Magic spray, super body shine, dries fast, repels dust, and detangles hair. This works really well, and a taxidermist recommended this, and that's where I found this. So Cowboy Magic. That is what I use on my taxidermy. I also use the vacuum and in a blowing method to blow dust away if they are looking a little too dusty. Somebody commented about restaurants and cleaning those. And something with restaurants is you get that developing of grease, and you really have to be careful. That's something I personally, if it were me, I would hire a professional, because our mounts are pretty pricey and we don't want to destroy them. You don't want to get them super wet. It's something that if you use a damp cloth and get that grease off of there, and then do something like this Cowboy Magic that will later repel the dust. So then that greasy dust isn't adhering to your mount. If you have a good taxidermist, he or she, because I've interviewed a lot of women taxidermists too, but they'll spray your mount with a dust repellent. So that's something else when you're getting your taxidermy done, is get that. For the eyes, if you have a Q-tip and just put a little tiny bit of glass cleaner on there, and you can dust the eyes with a Q-tip. I also use an angled makeup brush on, like I have a badger and his eyes are so tiny, it's really hard to get in there. So I'll use a makeup brush on occasion. And as I said, links, I have these in that Amazon shop, so you can check them out. Also, I have moth traps now, and I change those out every 3 months. And at first, when we were combating these things, there would be 1 or 2 in there. And what the moth traps do is they have pheromones that attract the male moth, and it it's a sticky trap. They fly in there, they die. And so then they're not mating and breeding. And honestly, this all has worked. And I've learned it all from taxidermists. We hired a pest control company, and I don't recommend that. They did not know what to do. They came in and they put some moth traps. I already had that. The bottom line was I had to find where the moths were and get that out, get everything where they possibly could have been living. I took all of the clothes out of the closet, sent them all to the dry cleaner, and that costs a lot of money. Don't recommend it. Keep them clean. Do not bring it if there are trees like close to your doors or windows that have birds' nests in them. Try to make sure that it's okay. Some birds are federally protected. You cannot touch their nests, but the moth traps are helpful because it'll catch them, but make sure you have screens on all your windows to keep those pests out. So that is my taxidermy cleaning routine and method, and the reason why, and a word of caution and warning to you. I hope it's helpful. If you have questions, I am happy to answer what I can. And if you have other tips alongside of what I have said, let me know. One word of warning, a friend of mine vacuumed her bird mounts. Don't vacuum bird mounts. Light air on those maybe, but don't vacuum those. Their bird mounts are totally different care. I'm talking about big game, elk, bear, moose, mountain lions, stuff like that, mule deer. So I hope that's helpful. Have a great one. Bye, guys.